What's up, motherfuckers? After lost the third rapid game of the tiebreaks, now Samuel Shankland needs to win with the black pieces to still forcing more tiebreaks or more games. So let's see what he's going to do to for the next games. Okay, Esipenko opened with e4, c6 by Shankland, d4, d5, and now Esipenko goes for the pawn of variation. C takes and c4. That's the pawn of attack. It's so solid for black, for white, of course. Knight f6, knight c3, and now Shankland goes with d6, trying to play more or less active, like in a Grunfeld style. C takes, knight takes, bishop c4. Now I have an isolated pawn, but doesn't matter because he have more development, so he's going to compensate his isolated pawn with his development, and the isolated pawn is going to give white a small advantage. And knight b6, bishop b3, bishop d7. I'm not going to stop so much in the first move because both players play so good the opening. Knight f3, short castle h3, knight c6, but both players are making normal developing moves. d5, knight a5, attacking the bishop, short castle. We are not going to take because after queen takes now the rook is coming to d1 so good, and this pawn is going to put some troubles. And now the bishop on b3 is not a great bishop because it's blockaded by his d5 pawn. So the b3 bishop is not so useful. Rook e8, rook e1, and bishop f5. Until here, both players are making all the good moves. They are playing great. And now comes the first mistake of the game by Andrei Esipenko. He played knight d4. The move bishop f5 could look a little bit strange because, okay, we can think that after knight d4, the bishop should go back and like, it looks like white is winning a tempo over the bishop. But the point of the move bishop b5 is that knight d5 is not a useful move. That's the huge idea. That the knight on d4 is in bad place because he's under attack of the e7 bishop. Now cuts the defense of the queen to the d5 pawn. Yeah, the knight is bad place on d4. Yeah, he cannot jump to e5. So that's not easy to understand specifically in a rapid game, but very interesting move of course. Shankland knows that the knight is going to be a bad place on d4 because now he can go to d7 and now black is fine. For example, better move for white here could be your g4. It could look a little bit not strange but scary to do in a rapid game. It's not my favorite move for rapids because you are open your king, and I not recommend you to open your king in rapid games. Bishop d7, now bishop f4 or bishop d5 are some possibility. For example, bishop f4, knight bc4. That's the idea of have the knight on c5 to can go with a knight on to c4, not take on b3. Rook c8, rook c1, rook c8, takes b3, knight b6. This could be normal. Well, bishop d5, that's other normal development of the bishop, knight c4, like always defending the knight. And now we eject the bishop from g5, yes, and still ejecting the bishop. And now, after break here, the position is more or less equal. Because, okay, black have the bishop pair, but the g7 bishop is trapped, white have good development, the knight good place. So this could be a better move, but knight d4 is a mistake. Now, bishop d7 by Shankland, and the knight is place on the first idea is that he cannot king to e5 to attack the bishop, but about this knight is going to be under attack on d4. Bishop d4, d5 sir, h6. I have a little bit like how I don't dream. I don't know how to say. Okay, h6 now was stronger to return to c1. Looks like a strange move, but the h6 pawn is a little bit weak now. So white managed his hold with yes, fix the black pawn structure. So bishop c1, who is the best move. Okay, he goes back to, for example, if bishop h1, now if rook c8, bishop c2, knight c4, who is the black plan all the time is landed a knight on c4, h4, h5, knight d6, bishop takes, d takes, f5, very good move, queen f3 and queen d4. Or we can go directly with the knight to c4. Okay, he goes back to h4, and now Shankland plays a normal move with rook c8, just developing all his pieces. But this move have a tactical problem with d6. So an annoying move attacking d7 and this pawn is spin. So g5, who can look like the normal move, having the trouble of bishop f7, which is really the difficult move to see because everybody can see the 6. But okay, I suppose that both players think that after d5, this is so fine for black. But we have the surprise of bishop f7, king f7, queen h5, king g8, and now bishop takes, second piece sacrifice, and it's incredible. It takes a knight d4, coming with knight d5 and queen h7. He takes knight d5, of course, queen f6, trying to defend, queen check, check, and now queen h5, and okay, we will have a repetition here. Very interesting, like that's the problem of rook c8 that allows all of this. But knight c4 here was the best move. And later rook c8 of course, but okay, positionally rook c8 is fine, but have this tactical problem. Esipenko doesn't look this double piece sacrifice of course is so difficult to see, but now after knight bc4 black position was simply better because his knight is so active, his bishop is so active, and white pieces are not so coordinated. And the d5 pawn could be weak one day. Now the first problem of white is that we are attacking the b2 pawn, and let's see that this bishop is putting some trouble here. Sorry, the bishop here is putting some trouble. Black have I have many pieces in this diagonal and could be so weak. He defend with rook a b1. If he can defend, for example, with rook e2, now queen b6, attacking the d4 knight, rook d1, and now queen b4. Now knight b2. We see in tactics. And now black have the bishop pair. Of course, black is better thanks to the bishop pair within an open position. Or a6 was simply another option. But all the time, appearing on many tactics. Now we can win a pawn, but okay, there are opposite color bishop, and there is not so easy. And all the time we have tactics into the diagonal and the c5. So okay, he defend with rook b1, and now he is still putting pressure with queen b6. Now let's see that black have many pressure and the tactics early are going to game. Okay, he should go back with the knight to try to defend everything. Okay, queen d6 or queen c5 are playable, but okay, knight d6 was fine. Now white start to trade pieces, but now black have the bishop pair, and this is going to be so important. The bishop pair is what makes here the difference. And let's see that the bishop h4 is misplaced. This knight is not so active, so the bishop pair is going to make the difference. Queen b3, and apart he have an extra pawn. Okay, he tries to activate the rook, but e5, and here b5 was stronger, but just queen d3 that's enough for white. He have the bishop pair and extra pawn, so very good f5, trying to trap the bishop with f4 now b5, defending the pawn. And now the rest was more or less easy for Shankland, going to show us more or less fast again, but the rest was so easy with the bishop pair and an extra pawn. But I really like how he plays this opening Samuel Shankland. I really like how he activates his pieces with rook c8, knight a5, knight a4, knight c4, sorry, later queen b6, and now the tactics are coming, and he just take the bishop pair and activate his bishop, and he have two active bishops, and he won a very good game against a bad bishop of white. So I really like this game, like an example of how to play active uh, with black. So let's see if finally Shankland managed to he with this game he equalized the match. So let's see if he finally managed to reach a semi-final, or okay, or Esipenko reach semi-finals. Bye bye, motherfuckers.